One of the most surprising AI stories today is that OpenAI says it actually slowed some frontier training after seeing signs of serious cyber risk. Welcome to the Automated Daily, AI News Edition, the podcast created by Generative AI. It's August 20th, 2026. I'm Trend Teller. Today, the latest on safer scaling, the next wave of open-weight models, new lessons from coding agents in production, and why AI surveillance and authorship debates are getting harder to ignore. This episode is brought to you by Crisp Call. Crisp Call provides agentic cloud telephony for modern businesses. Find the link in the episode notes. Let's start with that OpenAI update. The company says it temporarily eased off the pace of frontier model scaling after seeing warning signs around cyber capability, including early evidence that an upcoming model may cross a more serious threshold under its own preparedness rules. In response, OpenAI says it hardened research environments, expanded monitoring, and tightened alignment and security controls before pushing forward. That matters because it is a rare public signal that a leading lab believes capability gains are now close enough to real-world misuse that safety systems may need to move faster than training runs. In open-weight AI, the story is increasingly about capability becoming easier to access. z.ai has now put GLM 5.3 on its API, keeping pricing steady while offering developers a relatively inexpensive way to try a model that is already getting attention for strong coding, long horizon agent work, and even reported vulnerability. Finding ability. Independent benchmarking puts it at the top tier among open-weight models. Although there is a catch, it appears to be more verbose, so the real bill may be higher than the headline price suggests. At the same time, Thinking Machines publish more detail on Inkling, a customizable multimodal model built for a huge context window, and a new paper called FreeToken argues that very large mixture of experts models can increasingly run on local hardware. Put together, the trend is clear. Advanced open models are getting both more capable and more deployable. On agents, a useful reality check came from Liquid AI. The team asked coding agents to solve a genuinely hard production problem, and both of them looked successful at first because they could produce toy versions that passed basic tests. But the real failures only appeared when the systems were looped against large-scale data and an external verification harness. One agent eventually got there after several iterations, the other was stopped for slower progress. The lesson is straightforward. Agent demos are easy, production success is not. That lines up with a new paper arguing that agents should be evaluated not only on whether they finish tasks, but whether they stay within approved tools, budgets, identities, and audit trails while doing it. For enterprises, that's probably the more important benchmark. Security is also getting more proactive. Vercel has opened a public HackerOne challenge focused on escaping its sandbox, with a very large payout pool meant to stress test compute and network isolation before real attackers do. It's a useful reminder that AI-adjacent infrastructure now has to assume hostile code from the start. On the model side, a paper called Fool's Gold takes a very different approach to defense. Instead of trying to stop people from stripping safety behavior out of open weights, it aims to make those modified models unreliable by causing them to produce polished but false hazardous advice. It's a clever shift in thinking. If you can't prevent tampering, maybe you can make tampered models much less useful to attackers. Behind the scenes, the infrastructure race keeps getting more strategic. Cursor published a deep look at why hosting Git at scale is much harder than Git's local design suggests, especially once giant monorepos and constant CI traffic enter the picture. Its answer is a storage system called Continuity, designed to keep pushes fully persisted and clones consistent without some of the operational pain of older replication models. In parallel, NVIDIA is using finance as a competitive weapon, helping back huge AI infrastructure projects and GPU purchases so customers can keep building around its hardware. That matters because the company's moat is no longer just chip performance. It is also becoming its ability to fund, influence, and shape the AI build-out itself. There were also two thought-provoking pieces about how we measure AI progress. One argues that the real moat may not be owning rare data, but being better at generating, filtering, and curating training data over time. In other words, process may beat stockpile. Another points out that model comparisons can be misleading when they focus on token speed alone. Some systems generate tokens quickly, but take longer to think, while others reach the answer faster overall. For users, time to answer is what matters. For builders, both pieces are a reminder that the important edge may be in execution quality, not just headline scale. In AI and power, Wired reports that Flock Safety is testing a police investigation tool that goes far beyond license plate search. According to the report, It can combine camera data with law enforcement and commercial identity records to infer who was driving, who they associate with, and even family relationships. If accurate, that pushes surveillance from lookup into automated dossier building, which raises obvious privacy and constitutional concerns. Meanwhile, the information reports that Anthropic is considering a governance structure with extra voting power for CEO Dario Amodei and other insiders ahead of a possible IPO. Different story, same theme. As AI grows more consequential, control over these systems is becoming just as important as capability. And finally, a few stories on where humans still fit. Terence Tao has published an essay asking what mathematics should value if AI becomes capable of research-level work. His answer is not panic, but a shift toward the parts of the field that involve framing problems, interpreting results, and exercising judgment. That connects with a Wall Street Journal report on book publishing, where deals are reportedly collapsing over doubts about whether manuscripts were written by humans. And it also matches a counterpoint from software engineering, where one author argues junior engineers are not being made obsolete by AI at all. If anything, they're becoming useful sooner, because AI can amplify execution while leaving ownership, taste, and decision-making firmly in human hands. Thanks to our sponsor, Prezi. Prezi helps you create stunning AI-powered presentations in minutes. Find the link in the episode notes. That's the briefing for today. If you want to dig into any of these stories, links to all of them can be found in the episode notes. I'm Trend Teller, and this was the Automated Daily AI News Edition. Thanks for listening.